So we review today the lesson from October 30. Is about graphs of basic functions. We will recognize the equation and the graph of some basic functions. That's going to work a lot during our course. And let's move straight to this table. This table is the important one. The first basic function that's going to work, that is an easy one, easy to identify, is the identity function. This is the graph of identity function on the equation. What is it? Why is it called identity function? And if you have, for instance, if you have x equals 1, then y is going to be 1. If you have x equals 10, y equals 10. If you have x equals 1000, y equals 1000. So it's called identity function because y equals x. This is the reason it's called identity function, and you have to match when you talk about the identity function. You have to remember the equation, very simple, and remember the graph that matches the identity function. Next one, quadratic function. So quadratic function, f of x equals x squared. This is the quadratic function. The graph, it looks like a U, right? This looks like a U. It's a U shape and has a special name, this graph. This is the parabola. So when we talk about quadratic function, you have to remember the graph of the parabola, the U shape. Next basic function. Next basic function is the cubic function. F of x equals x cubed. The graph of the cubic function is this one. I don't know if it has a special name. I like to call this the snake. It looks like a snake, right? A snake. So when we talk about cubic function, this is the equation, and the graph looks like a snake. Next basic function, the absolute value function. This is it. F of x equals absolute value function of x. And this is the graph. It looks like a V, has a V shape. So match the equation, absolute value function of x, to the graph, the V shape. And then we have the square root function, f of x equals square root of x. This is the graph. It looks like a parabola laying down, half the parabola laying down. So match this. And then the last one that we have here is the reciprocal function. Reciprocal function is a funny shape, it's a funny graph, because it has a gap here in the middle. It doesn't have a graph in the middle. It looks like two curves pointing to opposite sides. And when we talk about reciprocal function, remember this basic shape, this basic graph. Okay, we will work on the quiz now, and when we're going to work on matching graphs, we will be back to this table to remember the basic shapes of each functions. So let's work on the quiz. This is going to be the quiz. Just remember, this is not October 28th. I don't know, this is a mistake. This is October 30. The quiz from today, December 16th, and also the same from October 30. Let's work on the first question. Evaluate each function. This is the first part of the quiz. Evaluate each function. And first we have a letter A, an identity function. Help me on this one. I need your help. F of x equals x, right? This is the identity function. Find f of pi. What's going to be f of pi in an identity function? What do you think? Remember, f of x in an identity function, if x equals 10, y equals 10. If x equals 1000, y equals 1000. If x equals -1, y equals -1. If f equals a, y equals a. What about here? If x equals pi, y equals, what is the answer? Type if x equals pi, y equals pi. And the answer here is pi. Perfect. Thank you, Jan. Thank you very much, Jan. This is the right answer. Just a reminder, when you type in the answer here on the quiz, follow the instructions. And the instructions here is, the instructions are complete with the answer only. So you're gonna click, let's see, you click, you're gonna open this menu, check this out, and find pi. Don't write pi, no, don't write pi, no, don't do this, no. You're gonna find the icon, the right icon, and type on the icon here of this menu, okay? The answer is gonna be pi. Excellent! Next one, letter B. Gonna move a bit faster now. Letter B, quadratic function. F of x equals x squared. Find f of square root of 5. The hint, this is going to be square root of 5 squared, right? X squared. And what's going to be square root of 5 squared? If you don't know, if you don't remember, if you're not sure how to find square root of 5 squared, we can simplify and find very easily the answer, but if you don't remember, use the calculator. Type 5, square root of 5 is this number here, 2.236, doesn't matter. And now we type squared. And you're going to find 5. The answer here is 5. Okay? If you don't remember, use the calculator. Next question. Letter C, cubic function. If f of x equals x cubed, find f of 2 cube root of 2. So this is a bit, not going to say hard, but the hardest one from this list. Okay, what's going to be f of 2 times cube root of 2? If you don't know how to simplify it, and it's not difficult, this is going to be x 2 cube root of 2 exponent 3 cubed. Okay, we can simplify. There's a way of simplifying it easily, but if you don't know how to simplify, bring your calculator, use your calculator. You type here 2 cube root of 2 is equals to 1.2599 and then times 2 equals this, and then exponents 3. 16. That means the answer here is 16. And this is another thing I'd like to talk to you. On your exams, on your tests, some tests like the SATs, you are allowed to bring the calculator, right? There's a part of the SATs and other tests that you can bring, you can use a calculator. Bring the calculator. Make sure you use the calculator. And another thing, know how to use not only the basic operation like plus, minus, and multiply. No, you have to know how to use all the functions. Practice. Know how to use a calculator and bring to the test, to the exam, to the test, if you're allowed to use it. Because sometimes you're confused, you don't know right away, you don't know the answer, but with the help of the calculator, you might be able to find it. Letter D. Letter D, absolute value function. F of x equals absolute value function of x. Now help me here. F of -9 is going to be absolute value function of negative 9. What is absolute value function of negative 9? Remember that absolute value function removes the sign of the number. If the number is negative, it's going to remove the sign. If the number is positive, it's going to remove the sign. Thank you, Jan. Right. This is 9. The answer here is 9. Perfect. Perfect. Square root function. Next one, f of 121. And this is square root of 121. Use your calculator. Square root of 121 is, if you don't remember, and some people remember that 121, if you square root, is going, you will find 11. 11 is the square root of 121. Now the last one of the first part. What is the reciprocal function? F of x equals 1 over x. Find f of 0.25. What is f of 0.25? And you're going to apply a reciprocal function 1 over 0.25. You can use your calculator to find out, or you can remember that 0.25 is 1 over 4. And then you don't even need the calculator. If you don't remember, use the calculator. 4. The answer here is 4. Let me zoom out and check everything that we worked so far. Let me see. Great. Nice. We finished the first part of the quiz. Let's move on to the second part. Okay? On the second part, you have to match the function with its graph by recognizing the basic shape of the graph. You can plot additional points if necessary. And let me zoom in. Okay, I think we can go. Letter G. First one, letter G. Q of x equals 2 times x squared. And this is going to be a quadratic function, right? Check this equation here. It looks like a quadratic function. And let's remember the basic shape of the quadratic function, which is here. Oops, let me just erase this. The basic shape of a quadratic function is this one. This is the basic shape of a quadratic function, which has a name. Remember the name? Is the parabola. So the basic shape is the parabola. Let's find the options where we have parabolas. And we have a parabola here on 7. And try to find out all the parabolas. And we have another parabola here on 3. And it doesn't matter if the parabola is upside down. Doesn't matter, it's still a parabola. It's still a quadratic function. We have two options. Let us number 7 and number 3. Which one do you think is the right option? Type now your suggestions. Type now your guesses. It's going to be number 3 or number 7? What do you think is the right option for letter G? Number 3 or number 7? Check out, look at the shapes. And Angel said number 3. Angel said number 3. Maybe number 3. Let's check. And Jan said number 7. Maybe number 7. Okay, number 3 or number 7. The way you can check and make sure, let me give you a hint here. Make x equals 0. X equals 0 and find y. Okay? This is one way you can use to be sure. applying x equals 0 here on this function, you're going to have 2 times 0 is squared, so y is going to be equals to 0 as well. Find the point, the corresponding point of x equals 0, y equals 0 in both graphs. We have here x equals 0, y equals 0, and here x equals 0, y equals 0. And notice that here it matches, yes, is on the graph. We can find one snake here on number 6. This is, it looks like a snake. And another snake here on number 9. Which one is going to be the right option for letter H? Let's try a point. X equals 0. Plugging here 0, 0 is 0 cubed is 0 minus 2. Y equals negative 2. And then find x equals 0, y equals negative 2 is here. And x equals 0, y equals negative 2 is there. Doesn't match, it's not going to be 9. And here, yes, it's a match. So the answer is 6. Now we have 9, which is not the right answer for this one, but it's going to be a cubic function. So let's find the other cubic function on this list. The other cubic function is letter n. Yeah, letter n is another cubic function. See? Let's try. X equals 0. 0 cubed is 0 plus 1. Y equals 1. And let's check if we have a match here on number 9. X equals 0, y equals 1. This is the point. Yes, this is a match. That means the answer here is number 9. Moving on, the next of the list. Next of the list here. We have I, f of x equals 1 over x minus 3. And this is a reciprocal function. Reciprocal function 1 over x minus 3. The shape of a reciprocal function, the basic shape, check here on the table. Yes, this is the basic shape. See, with this gap here in the middle. This is the basic shape of a reciprocal function. Let's find the options. And this one, number 2, looks like a reciprocal function. Have the gap, here, the gap. And number 10 looks like a reciprocal function as well. Check this out, number 10, also have a gap. And let's find out which one is letter I. F of x equals 1 over x minus 3. The same thing we've been doing, we're going to do it here. Make x equal 0. If you make x equal 0, 1 over 0 minus 3 is 1 over negative 3. 1, negative 1 over 3. Y equals negative 1 over 3. Let's check if this point matches one of the graphs that we have, one of the options. X equals 0, y equals negative 1 over 3. And the point is going to be right here. Yes, it matches. Matches number 2. And x equals 0, y equals negative 1 over 3 is here. It doesn't match, no, doesn't match number 10. That means, for letter I, the answer is number 2. Number 2 is the right answer. Check the other available reciprocal function. The other one that we have is 1 over x plus 1. And then make x equals 0 and find y. Y equals 1 over 0 plus 1. Y equals 1. Check on the graph. Reciprocal function. Yes, 1 and 1. Yes, this is a match as well. It's a match. So 10 is going to be a match for letter M. We are almost finishing. almost finishing. It is a lot of work, right? And maybe you're a little bit tired because it's a lot of work, a lot of graphs to match. Let's move to the one of the last ones. This is going to be absolute value function. Absolute value function. Check here out. Check the basic. Is the V shape. Let's find some V shapes on the quiz. Some V shapes here. And we have V shapes on number 4 and number 5. They're both V shapes. What do you think? Which one do you think is going to be the right choice for letter J? So letter J, we're working on letter J now. What is going to be the right choice for letter J? Number 4 or number 5? Is 1? That means y equals 1. X equals 0, y equals 1 is this. Doesn't match. And x equals 0, y equals 1 is this one. Yes, this is a match. So it's going to be number 8. For letter L, number 8. And for letter S, is for letter O, letter O, the function f of s of x equals square root of x plus 4 is the last one, number 1. Just let's make sure. If x equals 0, 0 plus 4, 4, square root of 4 is 2. That means x equals 0, y equals 2 is right here. Yes, that's a match. Perfect. Ufa, now I'm tired. That's a lot of work. Let's check all the things that we have done. So we answered the whole quiz. We will have 100% on this quiz. Yeah, that'll work. Good thought. Thank you, Jorge. Take a picture or a screenshot. Remember that this it's for 2 quizzes, December 16 today and also October 30. You can have 100% of the grade in both quizzes. Now let's check the bell work. The pair work on this one. And the bell work is kind of a puzzle. It's not anything that you have to calculate. It's just a puzzle, and you have to figure out what is this boy thinking. What kind of is something missing here? Is something to understand? So what is he thinking? If a ball has 3 watts, right, and the circle has 2 watts, then how many will a point have? And the words that's missing here, the definition that's missing is dimensions. That's right, Jorge. 0. Perfect. What's missing here is dimension. A ball has 3 dimensions, and the circle has 2 dimensions. Then how many will a point have? A point have 0 dimensions. 0 dimensions. The point is the only geometric figure that have no dimensions at all. Doesn't have width, doesn't have the length, and doesn't have height. No dimensions, 0 dimensions. The answer for the bell work is going to be 0.